Some say you have to love your country, but what exactly are you loving? Because it's not the politicians, it's not the system, and it's definitely not the life you're living. So what is it? An idea? A memory? Or something you were taught before you were old enough to even question it? Welcome to Doomscroll London. This is Arthur. Arthur lives in one of the richest cities on the planet, and yet cannot afford to feel stable within it. 0-hour contracts, rising rent, no real trajectory, and yet he's told he lives in one of the greatest countries on the planet. So he started asking a simple question. What exactly did all of this sacrifice lead to? Arthur knows people died for this country. That part is real. Men who never met him bled for something they believed would outlive them. But what did they actually leave behind? For Arthur, a 45-hour work week, unaffordable housing, an economy where working harder doesn't mean moving forward. So the question starts to creep in. Was the sacrifice for him or for something else entirely? They call it a modern secular democracy, the UK, as well as the US. It's written within their very constitution, kind of. The First Amendment, freedom of religion, or in other words, separation of church and state, secularism. But ask the average British man and woman walking the streets what secular even means. Most don't know. Ask what values this country actually stands on, you'll get contradictions. It's a Christian nation. But Arthur wasn't raised Christian. The king is chosen by God, but Arthur doesn't believe in God. So what is this identity? Because it doesn't seem to be built on shared belief or shared understanding, just shared repetition. When England, the football team, reached the Euros finals, people celebrated like they were a part of it. Flags came out, drinks spilt, voices shouted, "We." But Arthur watched and thought, who is we? Those players don't know him. They don't live his life. They don't share his struggle. So why does their victory feel like his? Because maybe it's easier to borrow pride than to build a life that actually gives you some. And Arthur pushed it further. If England actually won the World Cup tomorrow, would he celebrate? Really? What does he actually have in common with those men wearing that shirt? They say they're from the same backgrounds, working class, just like him, just like you, just like me. But are they still? Or did they leave that world behind a long time ago? They've made their money, they've built their lives, and fair enough, that's enough. So why is it expected that Arthur, you or I, should feel a part of it? Why should we shout, celebrate and cry for people who don't even know we exist? At what point does pride stop being connection and start becoming projection. Arthur once heard something from his mother. Back in the 1980s, Britain invaded an island off Argentina, the Falklands. They took it back in a matter of days. And back home, celebrations, flags went up everywhere. People flooded the streets in celebration. Pride, unity, purpose. But Arthur sits with that story and asked, why? That island might matter to governments, to power, to influence, but how does that change his life today in 2026 on unstable hours, in housing he can't rely on, in a system that doesn't even recognise him? What did that victory actually give him? Nothing. So what were people really celebrating? Arthur starts to see it clearly. Nationalism isn't always about the country, it's about meaning, about belonging, about having something, anything to hold on to when your own life feels unstable. Because if you strip it away, the job isn't secure, the future isn't clear, the system doesn't feel like yours. So what's left? The flag, the anthem, the story.
This train is for Lewisham. The next stop is Canary Wharf.
So be honest. Do you love your country, or do you love the idea that your life is part of something bigger? Because without it, you'd have to face the possibility that it isn't.